My right name is Marion Michael Morrison, and the studio decided that it was not American enough for a boy who was going to play Breckenridge.
For years, a massive mansion in Newport Beach kept some of John Wayne's biggest secrets under wraps. When he passed away in 1979, the place was locked up tight. Every photo, letter, and personal thing he owned was packed away and hidden from the world. No one touched a thing for more than 3 decades. Then in 2011, someone finally opened those doors, and what they found left people speechless. We're talking about record-breaking movie props and a jaw-dropping will that completely rocked his family. This is the wild ride of what really happened to the Duke's fortune. John Wayne didn't start off as John Wayne. He was born Marion Robert Morrison on May 26, 1907, in Winterset, Iowa. And get this, he weighed 13 pounds at birth. That was so rare, the local newspaper actually wrote about it. From the get-go, it was clear he was meant to stand out. At just 3 years old, he had a terrifying near-death moment when he fell into a freezing creek. A random stranger happened to be walking by and saved him. That brush with death set the tone for a life full of grit and survival. His name changed early on, too. When his parents had another son, they wanted to name the new baby Robert. So Marion lost his middle name and got stuck with Mitchell instead. It might seem like a small thing, but it was just the start of many big changes that were coming his way. In 1914, the Morrisons moved to Glendale, California after his dad's business went belly up. It was in Glendale where young Marion picked up the nickname Duke, thanks to his dog, who was also named Duke. The two were always side by side, and the local firemen jokingly called them Big Duke and Little Duke. Marion loved it, and that name stuck like glue. He was really into football growing up, and in 1925, he landed a scholarship to play at the University of Southern California. He studied pre-law and joined the Sigma Chi fraternity, but his football dreams came crashing down after he hurt his shoulder while body surfing. Losing the scholarship was a huge blow. He thought everything he'd worked for had gone up in smoke, but that injury ended up steering him straight toward Hollywood. With football out of the picture, Marion grabbed a job at Fox Studios in 1927. He worked behind the scenes as a prop guy, pulling in $35 a week. It wasn't fancy, but it got his foot in the door. His first time in front of the camera wasn't even as an actor. He showed up as an extra playing a football player in the 1926 film Brown of Harvard. Around that time, he became tight with director John Ford. Ford saw something special in him and encouraged him to ditch the name Marion. They toyed with a few options and finally landed on John Wayne. And just like that, a legend was born. His early acting years were seriously rough. Between 1930 and 1939, he starred in more than 80 low-budget westerns, some shot in just 2 days flat. Money was tight. He sometimes only had enough cash for 1 meal a day, usually a can of beans heated up on a hot plate. By 1938, he was so fed up with how things were going that he almost quit acting for good. Everything flipped when Stagecoach came along in 1939. It was a major film, but getting Wayne in the lead wasn't easy. The studio wanted a big name like Gary Cooper, but John Ford wasn't having it. He pushed hard for Wayne and even threatened to walk away from the project if the studio didn't agree. Wayne took on the role of the Ringo Kid, a rugged outlaw with a strong moral code. His very first scene became legendary. The camera zoomed in on his face as he gripped a rifle, and although it only lasted a few seconds on screen, it actually took 27 takes to nail it because he was so nervous. Stagecoach was a massive success, grabbing 7 Academy Award nominations and winning 2. Wayne's performance made him a star almost overnight. But here's the kicker. Despite the film's success, he only earned $3,700, a fraction of what the big-name stars were taking home. Still, it changed everything for him. After that, Wayne became the go-to guy for westerns and built a reputation as the ultimate cowboy hero. He was so committed to that image, he turned down major roles in movies like The Maltese Falcon and High Noon just to stay true to his western roots. That choice helped turn him into a symbol of good old-fashioned American grit and toughness. His partnership with director John Ford was something else. They worked together for over half a century, making 14 films that helped shape the movie industry. Their connection went all the way back to 1928, when Ford gave Wayne a blink-and-you'll-miss-it extra role in Mother Machree. But it wasn't until Stagecoach in 1939 that things really took off between them. That film was the breakthrough. Their working relationship was anything but easy, though. Ford was known for being a bit of a nightmare on set, especially with his actors, and Wayne usually caught the worst of it. On the set of The Searchers in 1956, Ford made Wayne redo a simple scene, just picking up a gun, 17 times, all in front of the crew. It was humiliating, but Wayne never said a word. He believed the pressure made him better, and honestly, the results speak for themselves. Funny enough, The Searchers didn't even get a nod from the Oscars when it came out, but today it's hailed as one of the greatest films of all time. Their final film together, Donovan's Reef, hit cinemas in 1963, and it nearly didn't happen. Wayne wasn't sure about it. He felt like he was getting too old for the role. Ford wasn't doing great either. He was in poor health and battling alcoholism, but Wayne talked him into directing it anyway. They shot the movie in Hawaii, where the heat was brutal, sometimes soaring to 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Things got so bad that Ford caught shingles and had to direct from a stretcher for parts of the shoot. Still, they pushed through, and the film actually did all right. Unlike their earlier serious westerns, this one leaned more into comedy, proving they could still pull off something fresh, even at the tail end of their careers. Wayne's first crack at an Oscar came with Sands of Iwo Jima in 1949, where he played Sergeant John Stryker, a tough-as-nails Marine. At first, Wayne didn't want to do it. He felt the role was too similar to stuff he'd already done. The head of Republic Pictures, Herbert Yates, had to personally convince him, offering a whopping $250,000 and a cut of the profits. That kind of payday was huge back then. The film itself was intense. Director Alan Dwan wanted the battle scenes to look and feel real, so they used actual flamethrowers and explosives. The danger was very real. Wayne got knocked out cold by one of the blasts and was unconscious for half an hour. Filming had to pause for 2 days. They even mixed in genuine combat footage from the Battle of Iwo Jima, which was so smoothly blended into the movie that audiences thought they were watching real battles from start to finish. One of the standout moments was the flag raising on Mount Suribachi, which featured the actual flag used during the real battle. 3 of the surviving Marines who raised it even appeared in the movie. Despite the film's success and Wayne's gritty performance, he lost the Oscar to Broderick Crawford in All the King's Men. Ironically, Wayne had actually turned down that very role, thinking the story didn't line up with his values. Losing out stung. He took it hard. And after that, it would be more than a decade before he got another shot at the Golden Statue. Wayne's dream project, The Alamo in 1960, was one of the most daring films he ever made. He'd wanted to bring this story to the screen for over 15 years, and to make it happen, he mortgaged his house, cars, and even his boat to fund the film. The production cost an eye-watering $12 million, a huge sum at the time. Wayne was determined to get everything just right, insisting on building a full-scale replica of the Alamo in Texas, which took 2 years to complete and used more than 1.5 million adobe bricks. They paid attention to every tiny detail, including using nails from the 1830s. The set became such a hit that it stayed open to the public as a tourist attraction until 2009. Filming the Alamo was an enormous undertaking. They used more than 7,000 extras and 1,500 horses, and the shoot lasted for 79 days in intense heat, sometimes hitting 110 degrees. There were even accidents on set. One extra was injured by a bayonet and needed 26 stitches. But despite the challenges, Wayne wouldn't compromise on quality. When the movie finally premiered, it was a big deal with parades and fireworks. But despite receiving 7 Oscar nominations, including Best Picture, critics had mixed reviews, and the box office didn't make up for the huge costs. To add salt to the wound, Wayne wasn't nominated for Best Director, which was a huge blow for him. Still, The movie had a lasting impact on how people view the Alamo story. In 1970, Wayne finally got his first Oscar for True Grit, where he played Rooster Cogburn, a one-eyed U.S. Marshal. At first, Wayne wasn't sure about taking the role. He felt too old and was still recovering from lung cancer surgery. But after reading the novel, he realized it could be the role of a lifetime. Filming wasn't easy, though. It took place in Colorado, where the cold weather and high altitude were tough on his health. He even had to use an oxygen tank between scenes. During one dangerous moment, his horse stumbled on a steep hill, nearly throwing him off, and Wayne tore a muscle in his shoulder. But he pushed through. To play Rooster Cogburn, Wayne gained weight and wore an eye patch, which made it hard for him to see. He had to memorize the set so he wouldn't bump into things. His performance was unlike anything he'd done before, and audiences loved it. The movie made over $31 million and became one of the biggest hits of his career. At the Oscars, Wayne accepted his award with the famous line, "If I'd known this, I'd have put that patch on 35 years earlier." Even though he was battling the flu that night, he refused to miss the ceremony. Some people thought Wayne's Oscar was more of a Lifetime Achievement Award, rather than for that specific role. And Wayne himself later admitted that it felt like a career award. Regardless, Rooster Cogburn became one of his most beloved characters, and the success of True Grit cemented his place as one of Hollywood's biggest stars. When it came to Wayne's love life, it was a roller coaster ride with 3 marriages over nearly 5 decades. His first wife, Josephine, married him in 1933, just as his career was starting to take off. They had 4 kids together, but his growing fame meant he was away from home a lot. Things took a turn when Wayne began a secret affair with actress Marlene Dietrich in 1938. In 1943, Wayne tried to fix things with Josephine, even taking her to Mexico to spend some quality time together, but it didn't work. They ended up divorcing in 1945. Wayne's second marriage was to Esperanza Bauer in 1946. This relationship was wild and full of problems. Esperanza, a former actress from Mexico, was incredibly jealous. She suspected Wayne was having an affair with his co-star, Gail Russell, while they filmed Angel and the Bad Man in 1947. Her jealousy reached a breaking point one night when Wayne came home late after a party. Esperanza, drunk and furious, grabbed a gun and tried to shoot him as he walked in the door. Thankfully, no one was hurt, but the marriage didn't survive much longer after that incident. Wayne's third marriage, to Pilar, began in 1954, and they stayed together until his death in 1979. They had 3 children, and for a while things seemed more stable. However, in 1973, the couple separated. Even though they lived apart, they never officially divorced. After the split, Wayne moved in with his secretary, Pat Stacey. Wayne's affair with Marlene Dietrich was one of Hollywood's worst-kept secrets. It started during the filming of 7 Sinners in 1938 while he was still married to Josephine. For nearly 10 years, Wayne would spend nights at Dietrich's house. Their relationship was full of passion, and they exchanged heartfelt letters, sharing their feelings with each other. Dietrich, always supportive of Wayne, even used her influence to help his career, ensuring he got leading roles in films like The Spoilers and Pittsburgh in 1942. Their affair ended in 1947, but they remained close friends until the end of their lives. Dietrich often referred to Wayne as the love of her life. One of Wayne's most talked-about friendships was with Maureen O'Hara. They starred in 5 movies together, beginning with Rio Grande in 1950. Their most famous film was The Quiet Man in 1952, and fans adored their on-screen chemistry. Many believed they were an actual couple. O'Hara even recounted how an elderly woman once thought she was married to Wayne. His kids affectionately called her ATI Marin, highlighting how close she was to the family. Years later, O'Hara's grandson revealed that Wayne and O'Hara had a brief romance, but it didn't work out because they were both too strong-willed. Even so, O'Hara remained loyal to Wayne until the end, helping him secure a congressional medal to honor his legacy as he fought cancer in his final years. In Wayne's last years, he found comfort in Pat Stacey, his secretary. After separating from Pilar, Pat became his partner and caregiver. Though she was 34 years younger, they shared a deep connection. Pat stood by Wayne throughout his cancer treatments, managing his life and offering support. They lived together from 1973 until Wayne's death in 1979. After his passing, Pat wrote a book called Duke, a love story in 1983. The book shared details about their time together, revealing a softer, more vulnerable side of Wayne that few ever saw. Pat never remarried and dedicated her life to keeping Wayne's memory alive until she passed away in 1995. In 1964, when Wayne was 57, doctors informed him he had lung cancer. This news, while shocking, wasn't entirely surprising given Wayne's heavy smoking habits, sometimes up to 6 packs a day. The doctors decided to remove his left lung and 2 ribs to save his life. The surgery was risky, with only a 50% survival chance, but Wayne pulled through and was cancer-free for 5 years. Unlike most people, Wayne didn't keep his illness private. He chose to make it public to encourage others to get checked for cancer. His advisors warned that it might hurt his career, but Wayne didn't care. He wanted to raise awareness. In 1965, just a year after his surgery, Wayne appeared in a commercial for the American Cancer Society, urging people to support cancer research and take the disease seriously. But cancer wasn't done with him. In 1979, he was diagnosed with stomach cancer. Despite trying an experimental vaccine, it wasn't enough. As his health worsened, Wayne didn't stop speaking out. Even from his hospital bed, he recorded messages advocating for more funding for cancer research. Just weeks before he passed away, he told people, "You might find a cure for cancer without your help, but I wouldn't bet my life on it." Wayne's final movie, The Shootist, was released in 1976, portraying an aging gunfighter dying of cancer. It mirrored Wayne's real life in many ways. He was 68 years old during filming, and his health had declined significantly. Despite needing oxygen between scenes, Wayne insisted on performing his own stunts, including falling onto a hard floor multiple times for one scene. He never complained. The film was a success and was seen as a fitting farewell from Wayne. He even made changes to the script to stay true to his tough guy image. In the original story, his character was shot in the back, but Wayne refused to do that, saying, "I've never shot a man in the back in any movie, change it." The movie earned $13.4 million, and many saw it as Wayne's way of saying goodbye, embodying the same courage he was known for throughout his career. Wayne passed away on June 11, 1979, at the age of 72, after battling stomach cancer for months. His death marked a monumental moment for Hollywood and his fans. President Jimmy Carter called him bigger than life and a true American hero. Thousands of fans gathered outside his hospital and home to leave flowers, notes, and even cowboy hats in his memory. His star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame became a place for people to light candles in tribute. While his funeral was private, a public memorial was held later, broadcast on TV for millions of fans to watch. The U.S. Naval Academy even made him an honorary member of their 1979 class, despite Wayne never having served in the military. In recognition of his legacy, Orange County Airport was renamed John Wayne Airport, a testament to his impact on the community. In 1985, Wayne's family established the John Wayne Cancer Foundation to honor his memory and continue his fight against cancer. The foundation helped create the John Wayne Cancer Institute, a leader in cancer research. It developed new treatments and early detection methods that have saved many lives. At the time of his death, Wayne's estate was valued at $6.85 million, which is roughly $25 million today, but it seemed small considering his fame and success. People expected a much larger fortune, especially since he was one of the highest-paid actors of his era. It's speculated that Wayne may have spent or given away a lot of his wealth during his lifetime. Not all of his assets were included in his estate. His beloved yacht, Wild Goose, for example, was sold for $750,000 shortly before his death. The yacht, once a World War II minesweeper, had been a significant part of his life, and its sale adds to the mystery of how much he truly left behind. Wayne's real estate holdings were also notable. One of his most famous properties was his Newport Beach home, which he purchased in 1965 and lived in until his death. The house sat on the water, facing Balboa Island, and while it appeared simple from the street, it was grand and luxurious inside, much like Wayne himself. When the house was sold in 1980, it fetched $5.5 million, a large sum at the time. Before settling in Newport Beach, Wayne owned a 5-acre ranch in Encino, but at age 58, he decided to move to a quieter life by the water. He also had properties in Arizona and Washington, showing his appreciation for different landscapes and his savvy in real estate. Wayne once joked that his decision to move to Newport Beach had been a smart one, saying, "By then, I sure as hell couldn't afford it." When Wayne's will was revealed after his death, it caused quite a stir. The biggest shock was that he left nothing to his third wife, Pilar. Although they had been married for over 20 years and had 3 children together, they had separated in 1973, 6 years before his death. Despite never officially divorcing, Wayne left most of his estate to his 7 children from his previous marriages. This sparked speculation about his relationship with Pilar and why she wasn't included in his will. Years after Wayne's death, the drama surrounding his estate continued. In 2010, his daughter Isa sued her brother Ethan and John Wayne Enterprises, fighting over her share in the company. The will had also left his children personal items and memorabilia, but these became another point of contention. Disagreements over the distribution of these keepsakes only made the family disputes worse, highlighting how dividing his assets caused lasting tension. In 2011, something remarkable happened for John Wayne's fans. Over 700 items from his life and career were auctioned off in a major event on October 6th and 7th at the Century Plaza in Los Angeles. This auction allowed collectors and fans to purchase pieces from Wayne's personal life and storied movie career. These items had been locked away since his death in 1979, with his house sealed that same day and all his belongings sent to storage. It felt like opening a time capsule after more than 3 decades. The auction featured a wide range of items, from costumes and props to awards and even furniture from his home. Some of the items were especially unique, like his scripts, which showed how he worked on his films. The script for The Horse Soldiers had folded pages marking completed scenes, while others, like Wednesday Morning, were kept in pristine condition, reflecting how organized Wayne was. There were also personal items that sold for significant amounts. His colorful neckerchiefs, a signature part of his style, fetched $1,755. Some items broke records, like his green beret from the 1968 film The Green Berets, which sold for an astonishing $179,200, setting a record for a costume hat. His cowboy hat, worn in films like Big Jake and the Cowboys, went for $119,500. Wayne's Golden Globe for his role in True Grit sold for $143,400, a significant sum because it was tied to his only Oscar-winning performance. Even ordinary items, such as his last driver's license, sold for $89,500. Pieces of clothing, like pants worn in The Alamo and a shirt used in multiple films, also sold for thousands, allowing fans to connect with Wayne in a tangible way. The auction didn't just reveal his career, but also gave insight into his personality. One special item, a gold-plated Winchester rifle that Wayne gave to his friend Bob Shelton, sold for $113,300, showing his generous side. Wayne's books revealed his interests in history and military strategy, while a surprising collection of seashells gave a glimpse into his softer side, something rarely seen by the public. One of the most valuable items was a portrait of Wayne by artist John Decker, which sold for $71,700. Wayne had kept this painting in his home, indicating how much it meant to him. The auction also included family photos, letters, and even furniture from his home, giving fans a deeper look at his private life. These items revealed that, beyond his Hollywood persona, Wayne was also a father, a friend, and someone with deep connections to his loved ones. In 1971, John Wayne gave an interview to Playboy magazine that would spark controversy for years. In the interview, Wayne made several shocking statements that reflected his controversial views. The most widely discussed comment was when he said, "I believe in white supremacy until the blacks are educated to a point of responsibility." At 63 years old and at the height of his fame, Wayne's words shocked many. This wasn't the first time he had made such remarks. In the same interview, he expressed his views on Native Americans, stating that he didn't think it was wrong to take their land, describing it as a matter of survival. These comments would continue to stir debate and cast a shadow over his legacy for years to come. John Wayne didn't just stir controversy in his lifetime. His legacy continued to spark debates long after his death. He even criticized the movie Midnight Cowboy, calling it perverted and using a homophobic slur. Years later, in February 2019, parts of an old interview resurfaced when someone shared it on Twitter. A screenwriter labeled Wayne a terrible person, and the tweet quickly went viral. This led to an outpouring of discussion about his legacy. Some people wanted him canceled, while others debated whether his offensive remarks should define how we remember him. Despite the years that had passed, Wayne's words reignited powerful conversations about the responsibility of famous people and how their words can affect others. This controversy didn't stay confined to social media. It also brought attention to places named after him, like John Wayne Airport in Orange County, California. The airport had been named in his honor shortly after his passing in 1979, but by 2020, people were pushing for it to be renamed. The call for change came during the nationwide protests following George Floyd's murder. On June 26, 2020, the local Democratic Party officially requested the airport's name be changed, arguing that Wayne's views did not align with Orange County's evolving values of diversity and inclusion. The county, once a stronghold of conservatism, had shifted politically, with Democrats winning all its congressional seats in 2018. Many felt keeping Wayne's name on the airport sent the wrong message to minority communities. Wayne's son Ethan defended his father, claiming he was not racist and accusing people of unfairly tarnishing his legacy. As of 2025, the airport still bears Wayne's name, though the debate remains unresolved, underscoring how difficult it can be to handle the legacies of controversial figures. The conversation also reached the University of Southern California, USC, where Wayne had once studied. In July 2020, USC decided to remove an exhibit about him from its School of Cinematic Arts. The exhibit, which had been in place since 2012, showcased movie posters and personal items to honor Wayne as one of the university's most famous alumni. But as protests grew in late 2019, students and alumni argued that Wayne's racist comments made the exhibit feel unwelcoming, particularly for students of color. After months of discussions, the university decided to remove the display in an effort to promote anti-racism and create a more inclusive environment. Some supported the decision, while others criticized it, claiming it was wrong to erase history. This situation raised a bigger question. Can you separate someone's art from their personal beliefs? Many of Wayne's fans argue that his films, such as The Searchers and Rio Bravo, are too important to overlook. They believe it's possible to appreciate his work while condemning his views. However, critics contend that his racist remarks and the stereotypes embedded in his films make it impossible to separate the two. They point out how his movies often glorified a version of American history that ignored the violence and suffering endured by Native Americans, making it a much more complicated legacy to navigate.